Hi, Sylvia Gorenszach here, and I'm a Gel Moment independent distributor. How's everybody doing today? I am going to be covering how to use these solar powders. These are powders that change with UV rays. So if you're in the sunlight or even if you're in the shade outside, but there's a lot of UV rays bouncing around, then it'll still change color. So I'm just going to give you a little example. I'm going to be using which one is this one called? This one's called Grateful. It's the purple one. And you can actually just tell by the sticker that's underneath. But this one right here is called, now let me, because they're all new. It's joyful, no, not joyful, loving. Yes, this one's loving. And this one's pink. So I have a lamp right here. And let me just quickly put it underneath the lamp. And then you'll see that it changes colors just by activating by the light. That was not a magic trick. Pretty cool, eh? And then if you shake it up, then it goes back to normal. Anyway, so let's get right to it. Oh, I see that this one was open a little bit, so I'm going to clean this up first. But let's get right to it and how to use this stuff, okay? Before we get started, just to let you know, before you put this on, you need to prep your nails like you normally would with any of our gel polishes. So you're going to do a light buffing, a cleansing with one of our cleanser pads, and then you can apply the polish. I have a coat of Gel Extend on here, which is the holy grail. And if you don't know what Gel Extend is, look at this link right here, and then you can learn all about it there. It's amazing stuff. Okay, so a couple of things before we go on. So because this is a powder, you have to mix it with one of our clear polishes. You can mix it with Clearly Frisky, you can mix it with Simply Clear, and I've heard that you can also mix it with Gel Extend. I just haven't tried it out yet, but I've heard that there's success with that as well. When you get your solar powder, it's going to come in this cute little bag. It has the name of the powder on here, but it also has a scoop, and on the back it has the color that it changes, plus on the underside of the little pod here too, and this is the little scoop here. So what I highly recommend is to get this mat if you haven't gotten it already. You can use a piece of tin foil if you like. You can also use an eye contact case. So if you're going to make an abundance of this stuff, you can use an eye contact case. Trying to get my tongue around that one. Because there's not going to be any light let in by that, and it should last you for a while if you want to use another application for it afterwards. I'm just going to be putting it on this little resin plate here so that I can show you up close and personal what it looks like afterwards. Normally I would just put it on my mat, but I'm going to put it on here. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to use a Clearly Frisky. Oh yes, and I also recommend getting these too. You can get a 5-pack for $5 or for $4 in the US, $5 Canadian. These are just 5 packs of these are the polish caps that you find inside of the brush that you find inside of our polishes. But this is really good so that if you use this to apply with your nail, you can use it like once it's mixed. And then I would just use a cleanser pad to clean your brush really, really thoroughly before you put it in, because you don't want to cross-contaminate with your Clearly Frisky. But just to avoid it all, I would just pick up a little pack of this. So let's start with the mixing, shall we? So I've already rolled my polish, so I'm going to put several dollops. I'm going to say probably, when I was painting nail sticks, I was using 3 dollops, and what I'm doing is I'm just basically digging into the bottle and putting it all in here onto the plate here. I used 3 dollops for the nail stick, and that gave me probably too much. So I'm going to try with 5 because I'm going to do all of my nails and see. And if 5 doesn't work, then you can also just add a little bit of Clearly Frisky and mix some more too. So this is going to be 3, and here is 5. Okay, so that's quite a bit of polish on there. Now, when I was just doing 3 of those dollops of this to paint a nail stick, which probably would have given me a nail and a half, it depends on how many coats you're going to be putting on, I only used 1 little half a scoop of this. With this, I'm going to use 2 half a scoops in it, and you just open it up. I would suggest tapping it a little bit so to get it off the lid. They are quite full. And this right here is what I'm going to use for the first little bit. So like half a scoop. I'm just putting it off to the side on top of the polish. And then with this, I'm going to add the same amount in a different spot. I'm just going to tap that, cover this up so that it doesn't go everywhere, because me and Chromes have that kind of relationship where it likes to go everywhere. I'm now using a dotting tool, and I'm just going to mix this up. Now, the consistency that you want, Clearly Frisky is not a thick polish. It's just like our medium grade kind of thickness. We have some polishes that are thinner, we have some polishes that are thicker, but Clearly Frisky is pretty much in the middle. When you're mixing this powder into Clearly Frisky, you want to basically have the same kind of consistency, but it's going to be a bit thicker. It is going to be grainy, so you can hear it, but you want to mix really, really well because you don't want it to be grainy on the nails. So I'm just drawing this in a bit. And I have some excess here because I think this is going to be sufficient. I might want to actually add a little bit more Clearly Frisky because it's turning out to be a little bit thick. So I probably added too much powder. Now I'm going to use the other end of my dotting tool that's not contaminated to pull it off and drop it into there. Okay, this is the kind of consistency that you want. So when you have your dotting tool and it just kind of falls in, it's very maneuverable, it's workable, it's going back, it's settling. This is what you want. So even though we have excess there, you don't really have to draw it in. I'm just giving it an excessive little mix because I want to mix that powder very, very, very well. Okay. Now, because there's stuff on my dotting tool here, I'm actually just going to put it on my brush to not waste any product. And I'll take this side too, because that's what I use the other to mix it initially. I don't want to waste anything. All right, so I'm just going to put this over to the side. Now, I take this brush and I'm just coating basically all sides of the brush, okay? Now you're going to be applying the polish as you normally would, and you want to have thin coats. You don't want to have one thick coat, you want to have thin coats. So this applies for any of our polishes, the thinner the better, okay? And what I do is I actually start right about here and then come down, and you're going to have this really milky look, which is really nice as a natural look. This is actually a trick that I learned recently. If you start about 2/3 of the way down your nail and then go and polish your nail. So it's a good trick so that you don't flood your cuticles. So now I'm going to push towards my cuticle and then come up. And I'm just going to flip this a little bit. I need a little bit more polish. Don't forget to cap that nail. Now, before we put this underneath the lamp, important thing. Keep this away from your lamp because it will cure. All right, so I'm just going to bring this over here. Normally what I do is I do this off camera, but I'm going to put it underneath the lamp. It's 45 seconds and I have my polish way over yonder so that it's not going to cure. And also the brush, you want to keep that away from your lamp too. So you could even just put it on top if you want. Whatever you want to do, just keep it away from the lamp. So this is going to cure for the full 45 seconds, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it comes out. It should technically change colors. So with this, you want to have, we find that the best results is if you have 2 or 3 coats, depending on the color. With the Grateful, I just did 2 coats on the nail stick, and the color pops when you go in the sunlight. So I'm hoping that this is going to be the same thing. I am recording this at night, actually, so I am going to add some little snippets of what my nails look like tomorrow in the sunshine. Look at that. That is 1 coat. Isn't that so cool? I love it. And you can see that it's already changing back because it's out of the UV rays, right? Even though our lamps are LED, there are UV rays in LED. So let's bring everything back again. And let's do a second coat. Isn't that neat? And see, look, it's actually changing back. Anyways, I find this stuff so fun to work with. So I just took this out of the lamp and look at the color. So that is just the color being activated by the lamp. So in the sun, it's going to look so much better. So let's do another finger. And then while I'm done this finger, you'll see what it looks like when it's not exposed. It should go back to normal. So again, I just start with 3/4 down or 2/3 of the way down so that you're not flooding the cuticle, and be sure to embrace that gap. If you find that it's too gritty on your nails, because this is not gritty on my nails at all, if you find that it's a bit gritty, that means that you've added too much powder, and just add a bit of Clearly Frisky to your little palette just to kind of thin it out a little bit, okay? Okay, I just pulled this out of the lamp. You can see that the color has changed, but I kept this finger out of the lamp while this was curing so you can see what it looks like without any UV rays on it. So you can see as I'm talking, this is changing back to normal, but it just gives this little milky look. If you wanted a more of a milky look, feel free to add a third coat and then it'll get even more of that milky look, which I think is really cool and is actually quite popular right now. So I'm just going to carry on with this and then you'll see what it looks like at the end of the video. Now, before I go though, you'll want to take a cleanser pad and cleanse your brush very, very well. If you decided to use the brush from the Clearly Frisky bottle, I should actually close this up. If you decided to use the brush from the Clearly Frisky bottle, be sure to cleanse that really, really well before you put that brush back in the bottle because you don't want that cross contamination. And then just clean everything else up too. So this is quite a bit of polish. I could probably do all 5 fingers with that. And so I did 5 dollops, or no, 6 because I added 1, 6 dollops, 2 half scoops of this, and you'll be able to do all of your hand on one hand. And then just do the same thing for the other hand. This is what it looks like before. So I'm just inside my house. This is 2 coats and you can see because I have a little bit of sun coming through the door that it's starting to change a bit. But let's go outside and we can see the transformation. It's a bit overcast today, but you can see how it's starting to change right away with a little bit of sun. I love it. I love it. With more UV rays, it pops even more purple. Let's get the other side of that thumb exposed to this sun and you can see how it changes there. Isn't that neat? Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you'll always know what's happening in my channel. Thanks very much for watching and ciao ciao for now.